Special meeting of the school committee will come to order. Pursuant to the open meeting law, any person may make an audio-video recording of this public meeting and may transmit the meeting through any medium. Attendees are therefore advised that such recordings or transmissions are being made, whether perceived or unperceived, by those present and are deemed acknowledged and permissible. We have a roll call, please.
Mr. Agia? Mr. Costa?
Here.
Mr. Hudson?
Here.
Mr. Corey?
Here.
Mr. Martin?
Here.
Mayor Ferraro?
Here. And a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag. Thank you. All right, we do not have anyone signed up for public input time this evening, and we have only one item on our agenda, which is a vote to approve the FY transportation total expenditure, which is not to exceed 10.1 million, and to award those contracts for transportation not to exceed 10.1 million. Is there a motion?
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Chairman, just point of order. I believe we have to do some house cleaning first.
Yep.
Because if memory serves me correctly, we already took votes on a previous dollar amount, not only to approve, but also to send to the city council a number of $11,959,056. So I believe there are two motions that are going to be in order first before we can move forward. I'll state the motion, and you can decide whether or not you feel it's in order or not, but I think there's a motion to rescind the vote of April 8th, 2019, to approve the proposed fiscal year 2020 transportation budget for the Fall Public Schools totaling $11,959,056. That passed on a 3-2 vote. I think that one needs to be rescinded first. So I'll make that in the form of a motion.
Okay, there's a motion made to rescind the previous vote taken. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Questions, comments on the rescinding of the previous vote? This just kind of clears the deck, and then we can get into tonight's. Mr. Aguirre?
Yeah, just a question on, so if it's going from 11.9 to 10.1, why? So the 11.9,
Yep.
there's several things that added up to the
Sure.
11.9, so.
Mr. Pacheco, do you want to approach the podium and discuss some of those? Very quickly.
So three of the items, which are the potential large amounts, are reduction from Whaling City for approximately 844 to 1 million. Tremblay's savings of 150 to 200,000, and Amaral's from 400 to 600,000. Those are the three large ticket items.
So I might have not been clear on what I was asking. So the vote we're taking now is 11.9 million. That number was brought up by 3 or 4 other numbers that got to the 11.9. So when we got the bids in, they totaled 11.9 million.
Including all of the costs at the district. So that includes the SRTA costs. That also includes
I know what you're saying, all of them. So let's say, for instance, in SRTA,
yes,
if it's $350,000 when it was the 11.9,
it's still 350.
correct. That's what I'm asking.
Right, so those items haven't changed.
But then other items have changed, but we don't know
Just
what
these
those are.
three. Just the three that I mentioned.
And we don't have specifics on that, other than what you just mentioned.
Specifics?
Yeah.
I have what I have.
The random, like, couple
They're not
$100,000.
random. They're based on the fact that the school department does what it needs to do, and the bus companies will do what they said they could do.
Right, we're going to have that discussion later, but just as a general rule, we don't know what we're, comparing apples to apples, we don't know what that is to get to the 10.1 at the present time.
I'm not following what you're saying.
So we voted before for 11.9. And that's
Which was
divided-
face value every single bid.
Correct. And
Yes.
right now, if we ask you, what's the face value of 10.1? They're broken out, you don't have an exact number.
The items that were included in the last one, less the three particulars that I just mentioned.
And we don't have an exact number is what I'm saying. It adds up to the 10.1.
As far as exact, these numbers are the ones we're working with.
Right. So we
And
don't
as
have-
long as the school department is flexible in the
That's
way
fine.
we
Just for
handle
this
it.
vote, I'm just asking if we had
Yep.
anything that adds up to 10.1, and I don't think that we do, is basically the issue. So I yield.
Other questions, comments on the rescinding? Motion was made and seconded. Mr. Vice Chair?
Not on this motion.
Okay.
On the 10.1, I will.
Okay.
On this
All
one.
right, roll call.
I yield.
Mr. Agia?
No.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Hetzler?
Yes.
Mr. Corey?
Yes.
Mr. Martins? Yes. Mayor Correa?
Yes.
The other motion, I believe, Mr. Chairman, is the motion to rescind the vote of April 8th, 2019, to refer to fiscal year 2020 annual transportation budget of $11,959,056 of the Florida Public Schools to the City Council. Make that in the form of a motion as well.
Is there a second on the motion?
Second.
Seconded. Again, just to recap this one, this is just rescinding the number that we just rescinded from going to the council, which it would have gone at 11.9. So it's just a follow-up motion to the last motion. Questions, comments? Seeing none, Mr. Aguirre?
I'm just wondering why we're doing this now. I'm not sure.
What was that?
I'm not sure why we are doing this now as a general. We have
You wanna weigh in on it?
two votes here, vote to approve and a vote to award on the agenda.
May I, Mr. Chair? Just a point of
Mr. Vice
information. We can't take two additional motions that already have previously been taken unless the committee takes action to rescind them. In other words, the committee's already on record as approving those two motions. Those stand. In order to take up any motion that differs from that, it needs to be a motion to rescind. Or there could be a motion to amend, but a motion to rescind just wipes it, and a new motion could be presented at a later time.
Was that your?
Yeah, that's, we can consult with Bruce.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not trying to, make this go longer than it has to, just quite honestly, I didn't know we were bringing this up, so it's news to me right now on the spot, that we had to rescind votes that we took when we can technically vote to do anything anyway, so I'll vote for it because I just want to move this along one way or another, but it's definitely not clean. I yield.
Just wanted to make sure that we cleaned up previous votes we've taken, so that we're not on record taking two votes in the affirmative, if the second one passes in the affirmative, that contradict one another. So it's just a housekeeping cleaning.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Agia?
Yes.
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Hetzler?
Yes.
Mr. Corey?
Yes.
Mr. Martins? Mayor Correa?
Yes. Okay. All right, now with those housekeeping items out of the way, other motions regarding the agenda item of 10.1 million? Mr. Vice Chair?
I'll make a motion to vote to approve the FY '20 transportation total expenditure for the Florida Public Schools not to exceed $10,100,000.
Okay, that's been made in the form of a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's been a second. Questions, comments on the new motion? Mr. Martins?
Mr. Pacheco, would you mind? It's my understanding that you met with the vendors with regards to their original bids.
Yes.
From the one I have here, there were three vendors involved, but yet there were four vendors on the original bid.
Right, I dealt with the three low responsive bidders.
But was the fourth bidder invited to participate?
Absolutely not.
Was not.
No. The bid was won by the lowest bidder. So the only person that I would be talking to is that lowest bidder in that category.
Was there any changes to the wording of the original bid?
There was not. There was no change in scope, description, or intent.
Okay, so there was absolutely no changes, because there was discussion on the GPS. There was
The
just.
GPS stands, the
Okay.
cameras stand,
Let me-
yes.
That's my next part.
Yep.
You're saying that there was absolutely no changes. We had discussion with regards to GPS, we had discussion with the cameras. All of that is contained within this contract.
Yes.
So the only issue then is, okay, you had a discussion with the bidders, whether individually or collectively?
Yes,
That-
it was individually.
I'm sorry?
It was individually.
Individually.
There was one low bidder that we did not speak to, and that was Fisher Bus, which was strictly for activities and sports runs. And
But
that
that
bid
was-
was,
that was a
that's
separate
outside
issue?
of, it's outside of, yes, that's outside of
And that was
transportation.
awarded by vote of the committee?
Yes,
Okay, that's fine, all right? There's no question with regards to that. Yeah, with indeed that there are absolutely no changes. to
no
the-
changes,
to
just
the-
total
and-
buses.
I'm sorry?
Just a change in buses, that's it, just a change in total buses, which is our prerogative according to the contract.
But does that, when you bid originally,
We didn't change the size of the buses.
okay?
So everyone bid on the size of buses that we requested, and again, that was put into the contract based on the fact that we did not know total accurate numbers of the amount of students that were going to be in each of the individual routes. So what we did was we bid out the amount of buses that we thought we would need, along with the amount of the size of the buses that we thought would be appropriate. And that's how everyone bid. They all bid on the same amount of buses.
Okay, so that the bid is based on not a particular number of buses, but on a per bus required.
Yes.
I have no further questions. Thank you, you.
Mr. Corey?
Well, so, Mr. Pacheco, again, I want to congratulate you on your hard work and diligence trying to arrive at some type of a solution to this initial alarming topic. I stated my alarm in last month's school committee meeting, and I'm hoping that it helped to bring us to this point to yield some positive results on lowering the overall costs. Now, I know that on behalf of the school department, we had to do our part as well.
Yes.
We had to, move our bell schedules around and so that we could create a more efficient tiering of pickup and delivery and all of that kind of stuff. And so I'm glad that we put our collective heads together and did such things. My comments right now are focused on child safety. And I know that we have several representatives of the bus companies with us here today. And so I just want to reiterate our concern on the hiring of their personnel, and especially namely the bus monitors, and so that moving forward, we have child safety at the forefront of picking a child up at home, delivering a child to school, and having an accountability for each child, especially while school children are in transport on the bus. Maybe an incident can occur, as I've been alerted to over the winter with a few incidences that came to light that I had to work on. And so I want to take this opportunity to tell the bus companies, thank you for your hard work and your diligence as well. We need you, you need us, so it's hopefully we have a great and healthy partnership moving forward. Just want to make sure that the bus monitors are highly accountable, handling the safety of our school children to and from their homes into school. So with that, Mr. Pacheco, I yield. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Aguirre?
I have a couple of questions on the second part of the agenda, which is to vote to award the contracts. But I would just like to once again ask the exact breakdown of the 10.1 that we are voting on presently. Each
It's going to take me a couple of minutes. I'll grab a sheet and it's the only numbers that are changing are the ones I gave you. Everything else is staying identical. Those documents were given to you each and every meeting that we've had
I'm
since
not
then.
talking about the ones for the school department.
That's the only other numbers there are.
So I'm asking if you have the exact figure out of the 10.1 that will be for regular ed transportation. Do you have the exact figure?
I
out
have
of
the numbers that I
10.1?
just gave you. It is for regular ed transportation is being reduced by between $400,000 and $600,000. And that'll all depend on bell schedules and other arrangements that we're making. So that's the exact number. That's as close as I can get that. Without making those changes currently and being able to know how many students are walking into the district in September, I can't get any closer than that right now.
If we would have approved the original contract, would you have had a number?
If we would
At
have,
11.9? Is there a quantifiable number out of the?
I would have
11.9?
not have had it then either.
Yeah, it would be the bid.
It's the max,
It
right,
would be the bid.
right.
And you don't have anything similar to that, is what I'm asking.
I don't.
All right. That's the reason why I want to vote against. Not that I don't want to reduce the cost, I do think we need to reduce the cost. I just don't think that we've been given all the i's dotted and the t's crossed, how we're going to get to that number. So when I vote no, it's not because I don't want to spend 11.9 to get the same service for 10.1. I think there's other issues that have gone on, and I'll ask my other questions on the next, but I will be voting no on this.
Mr. Vice Chair?
Thank you. Mr. Pacheco, what's the proposed cost for FY '20's total transportation?
10.1.
10.1 million.
Plus the, which is not outside of net school spending, plus the Fisher contract.
So you're comfortable with the committee taking a vote tonight for FY '20 not to exceed 10.1?
Yes,
And that will cover all of the needs of the district for both special ed and regular ed as you know it now?
yes,
Obviously, I think you mentioned to my colleague, if more students come in, we have to add buses. But as you know it right now,
yes,
so if the committee takes a vote of 10.1 million, you're confident that the numbers you have before you, the contracts that'll be executed, all will be either 10.1 or below,
yes,
as it stands right now?
yes.
Thank you, I yield.
Thank you. Yeah, a couple comments before we take the vote. You know, where the city appreciates the partnership that we've established with the school department, it is a fine line that the school committee chairman has to walk with the city budget being put together, as well as this budget, and really meeting the needs, and the priority was safety, as Mr. Corey did say. The priority was safety, and we wanted to make sure that children were still getting to school in the safest possible way. And one of the reasons we established this compromise, although my vote will still reflect how I feel regarding the last meeting that we had, I really do believe rebidding was a very tangible, very good option for this committee. But as I think was said at the last meeting, can't always get your way. But my vote will reflect that as well. I think there were other companies that I think could have helped us get to that number for the 1 year, and then we could have put out another bid that really got everything we needed for the long term. And I think there were some other options to explore, and I really stand by that. I've said that since I was on the city council. However, this compromise, and I want this to be on the record as well, was a good compromise that was achieved. The city recognizes that this is an independent body that has its own representation, that wants to make its own decisions that we may not always agree with, but, you know, we have to be responsible first and foremost to the students and to the parents to ensure that students are transported safely. So if it is the will of the committee to achieve this compromise, and that is what the city will fund in its budget at $10.1 million. But I think it was important that I stated that tonight. So with that, go to a roll call.
Mr. Agia?
No?
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Hetzler?
Yes.
Mr. Corey?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Correa?
No. Okay, other motions?
Motion to vote to award the contracts for bids submitted for FY '20 for the Foro Public School Transportation not to exceed a total of $10.1 million, Mr. Chairman.
Is there there's a second on the motion? Mr. Aguirre?
I'm not seconding it.
No, it was seconded by Mr.
Yep.
Hexler. I'm calling on you.
Thank
I
you.
saw your hand raised.
So the vote says vote to award contracts, plural, for transportation not to exceed 10.1 million. Once again, can I get the details of those contracts, plural, that we're voting on now?
The details that I just gave you was between $4 and $6 million, $4 and $600,000 reduction from Amaral's, a reduction of $844,000 to $1 million for Whaling City, and a reduction between $150,000 and $200,000 for Tremblay's.
So I don't mean to be asking you the same question over and
I
over,
understand.
but I would ask it to my colleagues who are going to vote on this. That we're going to vote right now on a statement to say, vote to award contracts for transportation. And not one person on this committee can say exactly what that contract looks like. When we first, the awards and the bids come out, you would get a contract. It's a bid. It says specifically X, Y, and Z of what you're looking for and what you're going to get. And right now, we're just saying, we trust Kenny Pacheco. I like you, Kenny. Mr. Pacheco, I really do, and I trust you. But I don't trust you enough to just say, yeah, we'll approve contracts without knowing the details. It's no offense to you, but it's just the way that I don't understand how we can operate under this category. A couple
But
of
Mr.
questions on
Aguirre,
the-
if I could, you approve contracts all the time that way. I mean, the last year's bus contract is not any different than this year's bus contract. It's a plus or minus. We came to you 3 or 4 times this year asking for an additional 50, an additional 75,000, additional 100,000. It's going to happen. There's no way for it not to happen because we fill up a bus. I get phone calls from people. These students have to ride for a variety of reasons, whether it's an attendance officer telling me that we've got to make a special exception for these students, they're not showing up for school. Once I put them on the bus, now the bus is over. I add another bus. I get a special request from the special ed department. Then I need to transport a student, 2 students, 3 students to out of district. There's a $50,000 bill. That's not part of what
I
you
understand.
originally.
I
So
understand.
it's constant. This is not.
Last year's bid was, I want to say that it was, or the last contract bid, was price for a bus.
That's what this is.
So.
This
you
isn't
should-
any different. It's
so
price
you
per
should
bus.
So you should be able to give me the number then.
How can I give you a number when I don't know what's coming into the district? I can't give you a number because all the bus schedules, all the Bell schedules have not been set yet.
Yeah, I know how this vote's going, so
Right.
I'm just going to make a couple of points. In the bid specifications, page, top of the line says specifications.
Yes.
At the bottom, it says the contract will be for 5 years, September 1, 2019, ending, I can't read it, to 2024. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Just above that, it says, 1.6, while the route configurations may change, comma, the same number of vehicle anticipated for the term of this contract.
Anticipated.
That's what it says, right?
Anticipated,
So you don't
yes.
disagree with that? If you go to another page where it says the specifications for in-district special ed transportation, it says 43 buses total. So we take the first statement that says, same number of vehicles are anticipated for the term of this contract, and then you have 43. Can you tell me how many buses are going to be used by Welling City under the current bid?
Under the.
Under this contract that's before us? We said 43 is what we used. How many are they going to?
Probably, my best guess with the tiering, we may get down to 33.
10 less. 10 less?
That's my best guess. I cannot, I don't have that information
I
in
get
front
it.
of me.
Generally
It's
speaking,
been- yes.
10 less than what it was anticipated. My personal belief is that's a scope of service that we put in the specifications, that language for 43, now we're down to 33. I think that's going to be problematic, but I'm not looking for even a response. The other piece of it is, there's another part of the contract that reads, changes in demand during the term of the contract. Now, we just established the term of the contract is going to be September through whatever the date was, the first day of school. 9/1/2019, that's the term of the contract. So the other line says, changes in demand during the term of this contract, we just talked about the date, may require as 25% more fuel, and I think that's what you're referring to, up or down.
Yes.
So my thing is, we haven't even signed the contract yet. It's not
You
even in
approved the contract,
term.
though, Mr. Aguirre. This body has approved the contract.
Which contract?
The contract for these bus companies.
No, we
You
haven't.
Yes, you have. And the minutes can reflect that. You have a vote that you approve the contracts. You may not have sent it over to the city side, but the contracts were approved at this body
For 11.9 million?
for the individual contracts. There was a vote taken.
Well, we can't afford that money. Does that make any sense? No, I don't think it does. Then my last comment on it, and another reason why I don't think we should be voting on it, but it is what it is. Your memo to us reads, the school department has a responsibility to change start and end times of all schools in order to make tiering of most routes possible. With that in mind, the reductions in each contract can be realized.
Yes.
I've never taken one vote on either the reducing of time,
Because they
Contracts-
haven't all been finished. They have not all been negotiated, the time
I
changes.
understand. So we're voting on this today before we're going to get a chance to vote on everything that needs to happen, and you haven't presented that to us before we're taking this vote. So on this vote, we're going to take and just blind faith that I hope it all works out. That's what this committee wants to vote on, that's fine. I will be voting no for that reason. With that, I yield.
Other questions, comments? I think that was a very broad stroke. I mean, I think it's unfair to say that it's just a leap of faith, but that's my opinion. Okay. Roll call.
Mr. Agia?
No?
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Hetzler?
Yes.
Mr. Corey?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Correa?
No. Any other motions this evening?
Just a vote to refer the fiscal year 2020 annual transportation budget of 10.1 million, not to exceed 10.1 million for the Fall Public Schools to the City Council.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Questions, comments? Roll call.
Mr. Agia?
No?
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Hetzler?
Yes.
Mr. Corey?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Correa?
Abstain. Any other votes? Motions?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn has been made.
Second.
Seconded. Roll call.
Mr. Agia?
Yes?
Mr. Coogan?
Yes.
Mr. Costa?
Yes.
Mr. Hetzler?
Yes.
Mr. Corey?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mayor Correa?
Yes. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you.